Oh, this is cool. I'm talking to somebody from Luxembourg. Tell me about Luxembourg.
Hey, hi, Bobby. Yes,
Hello.
so Luxembourg is a very, very small country. It's located between France, Belgium, and Germany.
Wow.
It's a very beautiful country. I call it's the best kept secret in Europe.
What's the main city in Luxembourg?
Luxembourg City
Luxembourg
is the
City?
capital.
And of Luxembourg.
Yes.
Ah, they kept it really simple.
Exactly.
That's smart. So, what's the best thing about Luxembourg?
The best thing is that it's very international. That actually half of the population is Luxembourgish and half of the other population are all expatriates like myself.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from France. You probably can hear it with my accent.
Vive la France. Oh, we love the French. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
My favorite language.
Really? Oh.
People can curse at me in French and I'm like, that sounds good. It sounds nice.
Cool. Yeah, I have the same with Italian.
Yeah, French and Italian. Those two languages, they could be saying they could be saying awful things. I'm like, that sounds nice.
No, yeah, that's true.
So you wanted to talk about international management?
Yes, leadership. Yes.
Oh, leadership. Okay. So talk to me about that. That's important.
Yes, of course it is. As you know, people need leaders. They need somebody to follow, someone they can relate to. Right. And nowadays, with globalization, it's even more important that people have the international mindset.
Right. Because not everybody's the same, but everybody's the same.
Exactly. You got it. Yes, indeed. You have to take into account all the cultural differences, but at the same time, people all have emotions and deal with things usually the same way. So you have to be mindful of all these things.
What do you think the biggest cultural difference is?
It's the people's background. Obviously, like me, English is not my native language. So sometimes people who do speak English sometimes use words that may not be the right ones or not maybe the most appropriate one. And so the other person may misunderstand what the first person meant. So that's why you have to always have to be very careful, very clear in your communication, make sure that the other person understands what you mean. So that's why putting yourself in the other person's shoes is very important.
That's very good. Yeah, English not my first language either. Bearish is.
Of course, I forgot. Yes, you're right.
I like to growl.
Yeah. So you can relate to what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
What's the most interesting thing that's happened to you as in international leadership?
Oh my God, there's so many things. If I have to pick one. I think when I was hired, before moving to Luxembourg, I was living in the Netherlands, and I was hired to set up a team in India. So I went there a few times, and that was an amazing experience because it's a complete different culture from Europe, obviously. But I've learned so much from a professional and personal point of view. So that's probably one of my most interesting experiences, yes.
And what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you? And working in international stuff.
The funniest. Oh, that's a tricky question.
Yeah, it's hard, right?
It's hard, yes.
What's the story you always tell your friends? I'm like, I can't believe this happened.
There are many, as I said. I can't believe that happened. Maybe at the beginning of my career, I was managing a team. I had set up a team. First, we started with supporting customers for internet in French and English.
Oh, wow. That's very hard.
And so I was the supervisor, and there was this Spanish lady, a very nice lady. She was speaking very good French, but as I said, sometimes you use words that are not fully appropriate or that are funny. And one time she had a French customer on the phone, and he was a bit upset. And she wanted to tell him, hold on in French. And hold on is ne quittez pas. And then instead of saying ne quittez pas, she said ne me quittez pas, which means don't leave me. And that was so cute.
That is cute. Are they still married?
No, I don't think they got married. But
they didn't get married.
This is a funny story I always remember, because that's an example of the cultural challenges you sometimes have with languages and expressions that you use. And that was definitely a cute one, but a funny one as well.
That's right. I'll tell you, the weirdest thing I had happen to me was when I was in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, you went to Saudi Arabia. What did you do there?
I was doing a little side business. And anyway, all of a sudden, the Starbucks closed. And I'm like, why? It was for prayer time. And then they said, but come back in 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh, okay. So every 20 minutes, you'd have to go out, come back. It was very interesting, though. I got used to it.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's different. Yes.
But,
yes, indeed.
But it's one of those things that's hard to describe to people, except I had a friend visiting me, and we were in a store, and he was getting a cell phone. And I said, oh, it's going to be about 30 minutes before anything happens. We're stuck inside the store for 30 minutes, and he didn't know what to do. I said, just sit still. And then, we just kind of hung out, went around it. It was good fun. Well,
yeah, I can imagine.
What tips do you have for people that do international business? You got any of that? Any tips?
Of course. So as I said before, people need to make sure they communicate clearly, that they put themselves in their counterpart's shoes, so they don't assume anything. If somebody says something funny, they shouldn't laugh. They should really understand, okay, what do you mean?
Right.
And also people should really be supportive, whether it's, as I said, listening to people, developing their team, making sure their people have the right tools, the right processes, etc. It's even more important when dealing with an international environment, because, as I said, some cultures, they will be afraid to ask for things. They will be afraid to say no. So this is very, very important to really be empathetic and listen, and make sure that you put your counterpart or your team members at ease, so that they are not afraid of you, but that they see you as a real team member, and not just as the boss there. Yes.
I think the trick is just for everybody to remember that everybody's doing what they think is best from their perspective.
Exactly.
That just because something might be offensive or weird to you doesn't mean that they're not being offensive or weird. They're just doing what they would normally do. I think that's the hard part. Oh crap! I gotta go. But I really enjoyed this. I'll talk to you again.
Me too. Bye bye, Bobby.